of itself.
Yeah, that's a crazy.
I guess. I mean. I used to be part of a YouTube consortium called Gamers at Large, and then Gamers at Large imploded, and then I joined another podcast, but the guy who was in charge of it was crazy. So,
as all podcasts, Yes.
No, this guy was particularly crazy. Like it wasn't like this is a persona. I mean, like behind the scenes, he was crazy.
Yeah,
so
he was off his rocker.
Yeah, when that happened, Kenoshi
yikes.
was there, and we looked at each other and jumped off the ship at the same time. We were like, "Well, time to abandon ship."
Yeah, right.
We got in the escape pod and flew away.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
that's what happened.
Well, I just got done telling RJ this, or Kenoshi. My buddy of mine was able to go to the Seattle Comic-Con and meet up with Hayden Christensen, also known as Darth Vader, and he got me a signed Comic-Con exclusive art poster. So I got Darth Vader's signature. I think it's pretty cool.
Okay.
I think that's pretty dope.
Man, 2 thumbs up for you.
I didn't expect it because he said, maybe if we go to another Comic-Con, he'd get me I'd get my own signature. But then he showed up to my doorstep tonight and was like, "Here you go." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool."
Cool. I mean, it's like, but then again, you got 3 choices if you want to get Darth Vader's signature. You can get James Earl Jones, the voice of Darth Vader.
Correct.
If you're really lucky, you can get David Prowse.
He's dead.
But he's dead. But if you were one of those people from back in the day, or you get new Darth Vader, or you get the really, really new Darth Vader, aka wannabe Darth Vader so bad he can taste it, Kylo Ren, aka.
Well, he's actually from a town close to mine, where I grew up. Mishawaka, Indiana's like 10 minutes away.
Forgot his name.
Well, be careful. We are live, so don't dox yourself.
Oh, I didn't know. Oh, wait. Where you stream from?
I stream from OBS. I told you guys we were gonna get started.
What platform?
Oh, YouTube.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You'll be fine.
That's cool.
Just
Anywho,
be careful.
Oh, I mean, I have nothing to hide.
Okay.
I mean, there's
some
nothing.
People are just,
I know some people are really weird about that, but I'm not that exciting, sadly.
Yeah.
There's not much excitement in this life.
In any case, this is Kenoshi Abominita here with another episode of Project Console, episode 10, in slow motion. That's the name of the episode.
That's good for me. I'm slow motion all the time.
But before we start, everybody like to introduce themselves?
I'm Irish for life, and I like Star Wars. That's all I got.
That's it. That's it. Okay, this is Mr. Red Fox, our proprietor of BS Busters. I too like Star Wars. I'm not old enough to really have gotten into the original trilogy because I wasn't alive.
Same, but the 97 series when I got super in.
George Lucas really licensed that stuff out, so I got into the TV, into the video games and the toys. But that's neither here nor there. Let's talk about some games and video games and tech stuff.
So since Irish has to leave quite soon, we will start off with Halo Infinite. So the campaign has gotten some pretty decent reviews, and the multiplayer has gotten some mixed reception. I played a little bit of it. I want to play more of it, but the problem I have is, since I can afford to buy games now, I tend to buy too many games, get in the middle of a lot of them. Never
don't
really
have
finish.
time. Yeah.
Can't really finish any of them.
I get that. Okay, so I've played probably 60 to 80 hours so far on multiplayer.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Yep. So
controller, mouse, and keyboard.
Oh, I am deranged on a mouse and keyboard. I'm very confident that you would think that I was drooling on the floor while playing mouse and keyboard if I had to play mouse and keyboard. So controller, because I'm telling you, it is shockingly bad.
Yeah.
So anywho, aim assist is wonderful. So I have played it. I think the game is there's nothing that's like insanely broken, I feel like, in the game. Like you play Call of Duty or like originally when Valorant came out, there was some broken guns and like um CS:GO. There was there's always like something that's just broken or like originally when it first dropped, like there's always a gun on a first person shooter that's just like, wow, this gun is insane, or this character is insane and it needs like toned, right? uh I don't think that's the case in Halo. I think maybe some of the shotguns here and there might need to be like buffed a little, because I don't feel like a shotgun at close range should take 3 shots to kill someone.
No.
But no matter alien or human, Covenant or UNSC. But and I think some of the guns that we have now in the game that weren't before, we'll find out the origin of their where they came from, whether they're Forerunner or some other totally different thing. I mean, I don't, from what I've read when it comes to the campaign itself, it is really well thought through story wise, which, I mean, how many first person shooter games do you get a decent story anymore?
Not a lot.
So because everyone's like, well, the money's in the multiplayer.
Yeah,
Halo doesn't need that.
Yeah, but to be fair, I mean, just to keep it absolutely real, Halos 1, 2, and 3 always had good story because they were literally lifting a lot of story elements from the book.
Yes, I don't disagree. Yeah.
It kind of went off the rails with 4 and 5, but
I mean, each their own. Like there's critics for all that, but like, see, I enjoy decent stories in general. Like I'm willing to, especially when it comes to Halo. Like sometimes there's never going to be no one's going to bat 1,000, to use a baseball term. No one's going to be perfect when it comes to making stories across 10 games. It's just, or 6 games or 7 games or whatever it's been now. It's just, I don't find that to be possible. I mean, Call of Duty with the Modern Warfare series was great, and they had a great story. But
I wouldn't know. I never played Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I played Black Ops and Black Ops 2, and I was like, oh, this is pretty good.
The Modern Warfare, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, Call of Duty 2, or Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 were really good stories, and I enjoyed all of them. Anywho, but then you go into like Black Ops had decent stories also that kind of tied in with some of the potential for Modern Warfare. It was kind of like a weird angle on it, but so the Black Ops series, there was somewhat similar characters and storylines, and not the same exact ones, but there's ties to that previous generation somehow, some way, whether it be through professional, which is Black Ops, or which eventually becomes Captain Price's Modern Warfare series, but because he does Black Ops, quote unquote. But and then Modern Warfare, recent Modern Warfare was more of a prequel to the original Modern Warfare back when I was in early to mid high school. So that was 2006 or 7, something like that. But no, I think everything I've heard about this is they've done Halo the right way, which most games, even though they were given more time to be released, have yet to have that. where it's like, okay, we appreciate the time. Like, and then and one of the things that gamers were kind of wanting for a long time was, I want the next one right now. I need it right now. I need it. Need it. And then you had like a bunch of games back to back to back, just absolutely ruin their bed. I mean, there's been so many games that have just been so bad on release, and then you have certain games where like, all right, well, we want to take more time to get this done. Now gamers are like, take all the time in the world, just as long as it's done right. You know what I mean?
I mean, considering that, proverbially speaking, gamers have for years it's like you went to a restaurant and you ordered a meal and it came to your table and it was totally jacked up. Like, at a certain point, it's like, look, I'd rather wait for the food for the chef to get it right than have them give it to bring it to my table
100%.
as quickly as possible.
I 100% agree with that. And it's like, it's like, exactly, you go to a fancy restaurant or whatever, where the chef is well known or has won awards or whatever else. And it's like, okay, I'm willing to wait the extra 30 minutes or whatever to get my food done properly and pay for that. But, but you go to like a chain restaurant and they ruin 2 out of the 5 orders, or there's something just not quite right, because you're just pushing out content, right? You need to get that year in and year out content. And it's like, now some game devs are like, okay, well, what if we take our time? And I think Halo has been, like, after they had the disaster in the previous Halo game, where everyone's like really turned off to Halo, which is 5, I believe. Or was there a 6? I think it was 5. Guardians or whatever it was.
Yeah, it was the one where they like really didn't know where they wanted to go.
Exactly. The story was just kind of thrown together, and you could tell that it was kind of, well, we need to push out a game.
Yeah.
And then people are like, well, this is garbage. Like, where's the Halo that we grew up on? And that's when 343 was like, okay, let's redo this. And Microsoft's like, let's try this again. And then the next generation of consoles and computers are starting to come out, and they're like, okay, 4K, 60 FPS. And they're like, let's make sure we do Xbox and the new console releases the way Halo has always done it. And the only thing that sucked for Microsoft was they couldn't release both at the same time like they wanted to, and double dip, their money per se, right? So, but then like people are like, fine, whatever, because some of the betas testers, or alphas or whatever you want to call them, were like, please take more time. And you always had like the random leaks here and there or whatever else, but it looked clean. It looked like it, because I don't have the greatest computer, right? I have an average computer, and mine runs 1080p, 60, 70 FPS or whatever it is. And it's clean to me. There's no clunk. There's no, like, if I'm sliding across certain maps, you have to remember, I get hung up on this corner. I get, you know what I mean? Like, there's the mantling isn't like, there's not like things that should be able to be mantled are, right? And it's clear as to what levels you're allowed to mantle on. But same thing, but in other games, like, let's say Warzone, right? Or some other Call of Duty maps, it's not blatantly clear what you can and cannot mantle on, if that makes sense. And especially like rock faces in a lot of video games, where you're going up this cliffside and you're trying to, meander your way up there, but things that are literally like half your body in height, you can't jump over. But the next thing you know, you're going down the cliff a little bit, and things at your head, and you're able to just whoop right on up that cliffside. You know what I mean? So it's like, they have done a really good job, especially in multiplayer, at defining proper maps, especially in ranked, where you're like, okay, there's clear ways to play domination. There's clear ways to play capture the flag. There's clear ways to play oddball, right? Like, there's clear ways and clear strategies that can be played easily in these game modes, but they're obviously first-person shooter strategies change. I mean, so fast. And yeah, I can camp this corner, but the disadvantages are such and such grenades come in from this angle. I can get peeked from this angle. It's from left to right side. There's always a way where you need to continue rotations, like an oddball, for instance. You're holding on to the skull or whatever, and whoever holds on to it longest over 2 rounds, wins the game, right? If they tie, then it's goes to a third round in ranked. And then you get a point-based system based off your accuracy, your KD, objective control, either in domination or oddball, and then in capture the flag, it's captures and returns. All that stuff is all kind of added into the game.
What
But it's sorry, go ahead.
Oh, there's also news about Halo that came out. I think it was last week about how they had to shut down the Reddit because too many people were spurging out about something.
I didn't see anything about the Reddit being shut down.
Oh, I guess people got children were fighting, and I guess they had to put a pause on their Reddit because I guess people were.
Well, how many first-person shooter games are people like? Call of Duty does a decent job at moderating their Reddit, but can you imagine if more? Because Call of Duty is mostly played on PlayStation and Xbox.
Yeah.
It's slowly becoming more PC based, but the vast majority are playing on PC or PS5 or Xbox or PS4 and Xbox.
Yeah.
So they're not going to get. They don't want getting access to Reddit is not immediately on a Call of Duty's mind, right? Halo, on the other hand, they have some very big PC and Xbox platforms, and everyone on Xbox is a keyboard or on PC can be especially if they're under the age of 15, wants to be a keyboard warrior. You know what I mean? They want to talk. They want to just this is stupid, that's stupid, whatever. They want to just downgrade everything to this middle. But some of us older fans or older people who are more measured and know how to handle life in general. I can see why it got shut down, but I can also be well, odds are there's a bunch of 3-year-olds on there that can't handle themselves. You know what I mean?
But that's the issue with most first-person shooters.
Exactly.
Which, unfortunately, the FPS as a genre has been taken over, either by people who are really young or people who are older and have the mentality of someone who is really young.
Here's
some of the irrational anger you get off of some of these people.
Yeah.
It's like you aren't acting like a grown person. You act like this is your job. Now, if you were getting paid for this, I could see you being angry.
Now, if I can see streamers or content creators having issues on a Reddit or having an issue with the game and stuff and their voice and their opinion on a Reddit, I can get some of the feedback on that. You know what I'm saying? But if you're talking about Charlie and Chris, who just got out of homeroom, and they can't handle getting beat because their mom didn't, someone didn't love them. You know what I mean? They crave so much attention. They have to have, I'm either an only child or I have I'm a part of 4 kids and I need the attention. I want this. I want some high side on me.
Or they're just immature because let's keep it real. Most people don't get their emotional maturity. Until you're, older.
I can't tell you. I can remember when I was playing Modern Warfare 2, right? First time ever playing online, because when I was growing up, high-speed internet was brand new. In high school, was brand new. We only were able to use high speed on certain networks when it came to school, and if your parents were loaded, you got high-speed internet. So, or in some cases, just to get your kid to leave you alone for a while, their parents thought it was worth it. And so when I went over a friend's house for a LAN party, quote unquote, I brought my own TV, I brought my own Xbox, controllers, everything, and we had the whole basement. We were all playing separate lobbies and stuff. But I can remember just being so mad about dying every single time and eventually like and it was like 2 or 3 in the morning, and all of a sudden all the older guys were like, "Shut up!" Like no one cares, and it's like from that moment on, like I never really talked in game, like I never really like unless it was strategically right. Like it kind of clicked for me. It's like, oh, I don't need to say this. Like shit happens. Move on.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah. I found a couple pieces. Found an article that talks about Halo subreddit. This is the title of the article.
Do you have a picture of it or no? I can look
Halo.
at it.
I'll
Just
put it in the chat.
yeah.
Shit. So Halo
Thank you, sir.
Reddit temporarily shut down because angry gamers just won't stop being angry.
Yeah, toxic. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. So once again, the angry gamers are angry and yelling and being just the worst. This time it happened over a Reddit, specifically the main Halo subreddit r/Halo, which has been locked until Monday due to how angry and toxic most of the posts and comments have been recently following the Halo Infinite launch last month. And here is the comment from 343's community director. First, I'm going to stress again that I 100% understand that generally agree with the frustration most are experiencing, even if I don't agree with the attacks and says and which some choose to express those feelings.
Yeah.
Call
I
me a
kind of
shill or a liar or corpse speak, etc. as you want, but I've never lied to this community and never will, and so on and so on. So essentially, people were arguing in this Reddit about, because some people are dissatisfied with how Halo Infinite's turned out. Some people are like, the game's alright for what it is. And they've been bickering at each other. They were bickering at each other essentially over the weekend, and they had to shut it down. I think it was put back up yesterday. But yeah, the thing is, the game, when they launched it November 15th, it was free. It was free. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying they should be lazy with the game, but it's not like you had to, throw down a big chunk of change to play it. Like a lot of
right. Exactly.
Ultimately, the multiplayer is free. You're not paying for it. Now, of course, there's microtransactions in there, but from what I've heard from people,
I love it.
Even the microtransactions aren't.
They're not like incredibly overpriced for like it's
they
not
aren't
like
aggressive.
It's right. So like for $10, I was able to buy like 2 skins plus some, and plus a couple things. So it's like full armor skins, which I bought Cloud9 and FaZe, and hopefully 100 Thieves get somehow into the Halo game because I think that'd be great. But just from an esports standpoint and fan base standpoint. But I've spent a little bit of money to buy some stuff, and it's probably one of. I was like, wow, I'm actually surprised I got this much because I was sitting here thinking it was gonna be $10 per skin, right? So I bought my $10, bought the battle pass, and I bought 20. I put $20 on the thing, got the battle pass, and bought some skins.
Yeah, but
but I was like a lot of other games that I play, it's $10 per skin.
Yeah, but you have to remember that for Microsoft, like the Xbox division isn't like for them, the Xbox division is just an extra source of revenue. It's not like make or break. We have to be ultra greedy with this.
It's not like Sony. They can live without Microsoft could live without Xbox. Sony can't really live without PlayStation.
Yeah, they need the PlayStation division to make a profit or slightly break even. Like they can't deal with so they don't have to, like Microsoft doesn't have an incentive to nickel and dime you to death. Of course, they're still, finding ways of getting people's data and and
Oh yeah.
and trying to hook people on various recurring yearly streaming services, stuff like that.
Right.
But I mean, at the end of the day, it's still, But in terms of the people being angry, I mean, look, like Kenoshi said, it's free. It's free. They aren't charging you for the online.
Correct.
Now, I mean, are there some features on the online that should be there? Yeah, you should be able to have different. Because I know in past Halo games, maybe not 4 or 5, but I know in like 2 and 3, you could play as a Spartan or the Arbiter.
Right.
That was a nice thing. Just all dudes, just no alternate skins. Like that seems kind of weird. Like you should be able to, but it's a free game. I'm sure they'll add it as time goes by. And it's free. They aren't charging you for it.
Not to mention, I don't think they have like a party system or like being able to choose, like, because I when I play Halo, I usually like playing team deathmatch or free for all deathmatch or Slayer, but
once again, it's free. It's like when I talk about Nintendo's online, when people get mad at me when I say this, Nintendo's online when it was free, you could forgive a lot of the problems because you weren't paying for it. Once you start charging people for something, then you expect the quality to be better.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, this game, hey, the game is competently made. It's fun. It's not perfect, but, it's games as a service. It's online. I mean, look, it's not perfect, but you don't have to pay for it. And even if you don't want to put money into it, if you devote, like, let's say you're like, look, I'm going to put 4 hours a day, not 4 hours, 2 days a week per day on the weekend, like Saturday and Sunday or Friday and Saturday, playing this game. If you just spend those 8 hours during the weekend, let's say from like 6 to 10 at night, you put that time into it, you can grind and get whatever the in-game currency is to get whatever you want, I'm guessing. So, I mean, like, they aren't making it inaccessible.
Correct.
So,
well,
good job.
I mean, while everybody, there are some people, moving on to the next topic, there are some people that aren't able to get Halo because they're not able to get a graphics card or any of these consoles. And Nvidia, there are rumors that Nvidia is going to launch their RTX 40 series cards next year, but people are struggling to find an RTX 30 series for a decent price. And it's just like, I don't get these companies sometimes.
Let me put it this way. Hold your hand out and wait for money to fall into it, and hold your other hand out and wait for a graphics card to materialize. You'll probably have money in your hand before you'll see a graphics card materialize in the other one. Basically, I mean, like, I've said this to people before. If you have a decent graphics card, stick with it. Just hold on and stick with it. I would say get a console, but I can't. Good luck getting a new console.
Yeah. Buddies of mine were waiting to get their 3080 for like 6 or 7 months, where it didn't cost them like an arm and a leg.
Yeah.
And they ended up spending like 12 to 1300 or something like that for it.
Which, considering how high the prices are being raised through scalpers, that's actually reasonable.
Yes, exactly. Like, that was their reasonable price point, was like 12 or 13. When like other places wanted 15, 16 for a 3080, and I can't imagine what a 3090 would be like, you know. But one of the things I also heard about, through word of mouth and some of my friends who are more in tune with the graphics card world right now, apparently Nvidia is not happy with their 30 series. They feel like the 30 series is underperformed, and it
Are we
has
talking
not
about? Are we talking about as pertaining to the hardware or how it's selling?
hardware.
Hardware. Okay.
Correct. They, I guess, from what I understand from some of the leaks or some of the conversations with um that I've seen and little rumblings here and there on is they have yawn. They their refresh rate or their rate in which the graphics card is supposed to operate at. The only one like they were like somewhat happy with was like the 3060 and like maybe the 3090, but even the 3090 they weren't incredibly happy with. And in the end, after it was sold, after they started seeing the data come back and some of their information finally come back on a massive scale, they were like, "This is not what they wanted, or this is not as good as what they wanted."
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I mean,
then
let's keep it. No, sorry.
yeah, right. So they were just not they were just upset with the way the 30 series was operating, and it doesn't help that their availability is next to nothing. It's incredibly hard to find a 30 series without you know calling in a favor from everyone and their sister. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just been in it's like, but my two friends that got 3080s, they had to go through a buddy of mine's work, and they went to like what do they call them?
Micro Center.
Yeah, they went to the Micro Center in Chicago,
Yeah.
and they went like 3 or 4 times, and um,
That's an expensive trip.
yeah, I mean
Yeah, but
these guys don't money's not an issue for the guys I know,
Oh,
and
okay.
yeah, but if you're trying to build a PC and you want it to be, viable for the next few years, I mean,
at a 2 to 4K rate, which is what they wanted. Buddy of mine, one of the guys I know has two 4K monitors that he
yeah, if you're
uses.
trying to do multiple monitors, but even just future proofing. I mean, the whole point of building a PC is that you're going to put money into it in the front end, so that in the back end,
Right.
there's you don't have to worry about it. Like all you have to do is
Correct.
just buy whatever. If it's for business, you just buy the application you need, and you can use it for 5, 6, 7 years.
Right.
It's a completely different viewpoint for that.
Not if it's Creative Cloud.
I don't know what that is.
That's Adobe's Creative Cloud.
Yeah, but Adobe
really-
was bought by Apple, and they basically they probably gimped it so that it runs better on Apple products. So then it can be really expensive for the Joe Blow average consumer.
Correct.
That's Apple's MO right there. Oh, this used to be affordable. No, it's got Apple on it. We need to make it really expensive.
Yeah. And I've even watched some like computer builders on YouTube and Twitch, and they've even said that like this stuff works, but for the price point, they're just like, it just doesn't quite make a whole lot of sense at the moment.
Well, RTX is still kind of a bit of a joke, in
Yeah.
my honest opinion. It's not like ray tracing. Besides getting a prettier light show and nicer reflections, it's
Mhm.
not really doing much of anything to
Yeah,
move game mechanics.
Yeah,
no,
but
game
to
mechanics,
be-
that's true, but certain textures, like a buddy of mine loves his Minecraft with RTX.
Oh yeah, that's the one game. That is
Yeah.
the one game
Yeah.
that has really impressed me
Yeah,
pertaining to
like
RTX.
I was like, I didn't quite believe him at first, and then he started streaming on Discord, and I was like, this is majestic.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big Minecraft guy, but I just kind of run around and mine for my buddies who enjoy the game more
Yeah.
than I do.
Yeah.
But like, um, I I was just like, dang, this is pretty impressive. But then, like, you know, you look at other games, and it's just like, oh, it's kind of mediocre.
Yeah, I mean it looks okay, but it's not. But yeah, that.
I don't know if it's an extra $500 or $600 worth. Okay, you know what I mean? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's like I said, when it took me a while because to believe in the whole RTX thing. When I saw Minecraft, it's like, wow, okay, so this is what RTX is
Right.
capable of.
Yes.
All right,
Yeah, but you also
I
have
haven't
to
really
keep
seen
in.
anything.
I mean, but you also have to keep in mind that we're reaching the point technologically where you're getting diminishing returns. Like, how
Correct.
good can the graphics can be at this point? And
Yeah.
I mean, you're getting the same thing with CPUs too. It's like at a certain point.
And that's one of the things that a lot of computer companies are talking about now is like, who's gonna make that next step in R&D to be like, oh, here's the ha ha ha, and they don't know. You know, some say that like Elon Musk is gonna have some sort of hand in it. You know, who knows what Amazon's gonna do because they're kind of psycho. But like, it's starting to become okay. We've maxed out our potential here.
Yeah.
What do we do now?
Well, at this
And
point, you need something. You need a qualitative change, and
mhm. And that's what they're
y-
talking about too. Is they need some sort of quantitative or some sort
you
of
need a.
quantum.
Yeah. Sorry, you need a quantitative change, not a
Yeah,
qualitative change. Because
correct.
I mean, we've been getting where they're just adding more transistors to the die, or they're
Yep.
adding more memory to the card, or and at a certain point, it's like, well, we got to
Well,
do something
yeah,
different.
are we gonna go somewhere
And
beyond just speed? I mean,
yeah,
we're
exactly. I was talking to I was reading some stuff that Elon had released about processors. 'Cause someone had asked the question on like Twitter or whatever, and he's the king, by the way. And he's like the biggest troll I've ever seen in my life. And I was reading some of his stuff and some of the back and forth that he has online, and he's like, I don't know who and I don't know when, but somewhere someone is going to need to make the next step because we're running low on that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
yeah, because
And he goes because we're hitting that line where, you know, how much further can we go?
yeah, I find DLSS a lot more interesting than RTX. It
Mm-hmm.
does a lot more for games than RTX does at the moment, in my
Correct.
opinion.
All right, sir. My wife is home. I have to go.
All right, have a
You have
good
a good
night.
night. Yeah, bye bye.
Yeah, just for me, I'm just not like. There needs to be a change. There needs to be a quantitative change in how, like maybe a new programming language to make programs smaller, so that you can have more complex programs, more instructions, but just you know,
Yeah,
a more complex instructions, but on a smaller impact on the processor. I don't know,
yeah,
but
or being able to have a a sort of expanding contraction. I can't really think of the word for it. For software, depending on what it needs and what it uses, it expands and contracts its storage space, depending on what it's doing, rather than you know having a game that's say 5 gigabytes, but its storage capacity expands depending on what the game is doing. So it might expand to like 15 gigabytes during more intensive scenes, and then once those intensive scenes
it goes
goes
back
away,
down. Yeah,
5
I mean, I'd
or
be cool
something
with
like
that.
that.
Like for me, the real thing I want to see in gaming is I want to see better AI behavior. Because I'm tired of games where like the AI is just stupid.
Yeah,
It's just basic and stupid. It's like
or create a better illusion. that it is it's smarter. Like
I mean,
for
it's all
example,
following instructions. I mean, heck, by technical proxy, we as human beings follow instructions. We get up when we're hungry. We get up and eat. When we have to go to the bathroom, we get up and go to the bathroom. Those are biological instructions that we're following. So I just want more expansive worlds. Like I'm tired of these basic worlds, and they're like, oh, it's so big, it's basic. It's basic and boring.
Could you imagine like a storm, say in like a fantasy game, like a mystical storm that actually changes the terrain of the world every so often?
Or it hits players. It's a magic storm. It hits characters, and literally someone gets turned into something.
Yeah.
And that character is turned into that thing. Like you go up to them, it's like, what happened to Steve? Steve got turned into a mushroom.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, you can help him if you give him anti-mushroom potion in your thing, or you could choose not to. So now Steve is a mushroom, but because we have advanced AI, Steve's a mushroom. So his wife leaves him, or maybe his wife stays with him. I don't know. Like that's the type of.
And if you don't change him back, that could bar you out of side quests. Stuff. Stuff like that, or the story slightly changes because he's been turned into a mushroom.
Yeah, I just, I'm tired of the oversimplistic. Like, I remember playing Breath of the Wild, and I'm like, this game is fun, but there's so many missed opportunities.
Yeah.
And, and a lot of other open world games, I'm like, man, I wish the AI was better. Because the big thing with AI, 3 gens ago was detail in the world, right? But now it's like we can get detail down. It's easy to have a detailed world. Now we want, better AI. And that's a CPU thing. That's not a graphics card thing because, it's...
Yeah. And while we're on the topic of tech, Razer is working on a handheld gaming device with Qualcomm, which I believe is supposed to be set to release at the end of next year. And it'll be running Android. It'll have an OLED screen. The screen will run at 120 hertz. 6,000 milliamp battery. It will have an 8K back facing camera. I don't know why it's gonna have that. It will have 5 gig. It'll have 5G support.
So this is gonna be a handheld Ouya. Because as soon as they said Android, I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be a handheld Ouya. And a lot of smartphone games and games that have been ported over to mobile.
Yeah, that's the problem. I don't know. I don't know why you just don't run Linux.
Especially considering what Valve is doing with.
Well, they're working with Qualcomm, which is they obviously it's their SoC, so it's not gonna be able to handle a lot of. I mean, it'll probably be able to handle like indie games and stuff like that, but I don't think it's gonna.
I think Razer. I think this is going to be a cloud gaming device, like the Shield, not the Shield, like the Steam Deck.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I just know it's going to be overpriced because Razer is the Apple of Windows machines. So
Yeah. Unless occasionally they're slightly better than Apple though, because Razer will occasionally have sales where their last gen stuff that they want to get rid of the old inventory will be on sale, and they'll have some pretty good prices. Apple, even when Apple has a sale, it's like I somehow feel like I've been screwed.
Yeah, it's like an Apple's and Nintendo of computers when it comes to how they
Yeah,
price things and how they sell things.
yeah, but with Nintendo, especially back in the day, you could at least have Nintendo Selects where you felt like you were getting a deal. You never really feel like you're getting a deal with Apple, except when they
Oh,
had their what was it called? Their Apple uh the Apple Arcade that was like $5 a month.
yeah.
That was a pretty good deal.
It has I mean, I've heard they have decent deals on their refurbished laptops or their refurbished computers, and sometimes, you know, also you can buy their laptops and computers with a student discount. And you don't have to prove that you're a student. So yeah,
I mean, I understand that, but I just don't like I know a lot of people like the ecosystem of Apple. Like for me, it just doesn't really do anything for me.
yeah,
Because I'm like I like the open ability of PC. I like that PC is open and you can do a lot of stuff with it. Like if I want to open up if I want to change the code on the OS that runs my PC, I can do that. You do that in Apple, you'll probably break your computer,
yeah, yeah.
and that's just not. You know, I don't like people telling me what to do with something that I spent an exorbitant amount of money on. Oh, you can't do that. Well, forget you then.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and it used to be back in the day when they were Intel with Intel. Yeah, because I remember it was a few years ago. I was thinking about getting a MacBook Pro, and I was running, and I found another computer that had the same processor and the same, just the same everything, and I just ended up getting that because it was cheaper.
Yeah, I mean I mean, like I said, that's my issue with Apple products. Just they seem to be highly priced, and it's like, and I noticed this isn't just an Apple thing. This is like almost all the companies that are built on technology, like are selling you some form of hardware. They love taking away features so that they can sell you something that serves the same purpose from before. Like how they got rid of like an audio jack.
Yeah, I don't. I still don't understand the headphone jack. They say, "Oh well,
They could sell you because they could sell you a wireless one later. That's
yeah,
all that was. That was so
yeah,
that they could sell you some junk later that you used to, because let's keep it real. For audiophiles like myself, the best sound is wired sound.
oh yeah, definitely." Um, and they made up this excuse. Oh, we can better waterproof. We can better waterproof our devices. It's like whatever.
Yeah, I call BS on that one. Clearly, this was about money. All right.
Yeah, it's
Now, to
smartphones.
be fair, I'm not against a company making money, but if you're gonna lie to me like that, then I'm gonna have a problem.
I mean, what supposedly Apple phones aren't selling. The new 13 phones aren't selling as well as they have been. I think mainly it's because I've looked up reviews of the 13 and it's essentially just the iPhone 12G. Really, it's just a
Yeah.
refresh of the iPhone 12.
Well, I mean, you keep on you take away enough features, people get tired of it after a while.
Yeah, yeah. But Sony is they want to play with Microsoft and the um they want to have their own version of
Game Pass.
Game Pass. Yeah, sorry, I forgot it first. They want to have their own version of Game Pass. Uh, right now it's called Project Spartacus. That's that is its code name, and they're looking to have their legacy games on this service. How do you think it's gonna do? Do you think You think it's going to have the support, or do you think third parties are going to take their legacy content that was on the PS2 elsewhere?
Here's what I think. I think that if this is a big if, but here's what I think. I think that if Sony treats it seriously and puts some real money behind it, then there's a good chance that it'll work. It'll be something useful. The key word is if Sony takes it seriously. If they treat this like they treated the PS Mini, the PS Classic, then it's gonna fall flat on its face. If they take it seriously and they actually put some support behind it, not just BS support, but real support, then it could be a thing.
Yeah.
Because like Sony does have a deep library of old games. The problem with Sony is Sony gets arrogant. And
Yeah.
Sony, a lot of times, when Sony gets arrogant, they start messing up because that's what they do. I mean,
Yeah.
that is one of Sony's big major things is that they love to get arrogant and then show their behind. They do that all the time. So, if Sony can legitimately support the device, the service, then it can work. But if they're just gonna throw some stuff together and BS, which is what Sony likes to do, then it's not going to be a thing. Or it's going to come out and it's going to be raggy. Because here's the thing. We already have a service that does this really well, which is Game Pass. And we have a service that does this really poorly, which is Nintendo's online library. So really, ideally, all Sony has to do in order to be seen as somewhat competent is get someplace in the middle.
Yeah.
And it's sad because, like I said, Sony does not. Sony is very half-assed these days. All right, they don't. The bare minimum is enough for them.
Yeah.
So, personally, I would love for I would love for there to be a decent a Game Pass alternative for Sony games. But the problem is that, Sony is probably going to mess that up because Sony loves messing up easy to fix issues. It's like, hey, all you got to do is just do this basic thing and it'll be good. Nah, I don't know if I can do that. I'm Sony.
Yeah, they've been I mean, the PS4 and the PS5 is I guess the PS5 is debatable, but I got, there's 10 million PS5s out there, so I mean, whether they're in actual people's houses or whether a big chunk of them is sitting in somebody's basement or garage waiting to be sold at 2 to 3 times the price, that's up for debate. But for last couple consoles, it's been working out for them. So, and
Yeah.
I've heard decent things about PlayStation Now.
As someone who has PlayStation Now is trash.
Yeah, I hear that the cloud stuff doesn't work very well.
PlayStation Now is trash. It's not very good. PlayStation Now could be great if Sony just lifted whole ideas away from Microsoft and let you just download the bigger games right onto your device. But Because the cloud, I mean, for a lot of games, like if you're playing RPGs, it's not that bad because an RPG doesn't require, you know, um, quick twitch reflexes or anything. But if you're trying to play a fighting game or something that requires a lot of, you know, stuff, oh man, it's just not good. It is terrible. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, while we're on the topic of Sony, apparently, Sony is there was an executive of Sony that got himself in some hot water, soliciting their certain services from a 15-year-old boy, quote unquote 15-year-old boy. Turns out it was a dummy account that was created by a particular group that goes hunting for pedos. They want to be like Chris Hansen Jr. They want to be like Chris Hansen when they grow up, I guess.
let me get this straight. This guy, he had to have that seat, huh?
Yeah, and they fired him. They fired him because
they should have fired him.
There was a video.
He deserved to be fired.
Yeah, yeah. So I have two problems with this. One, yeah, the guy should have been fired. The guy should be fired. He is fired. Um, that was the right call. Two, I can't help but because I've seen a little bit of the video. I can't help but think that these people are cloud chasers. Because the thing is, a lot of I don't know why they just didn't give this information to the police and let them take care of it, or better yet, I don't know why they didn't call the police while they were scouting this guy out. But yeah, I just think from what I've seen, I just think these people are clout chasers. But yeah,
I mean, look, you're right. It is kind of like entrapment, but on the other end of the spectrum, I mean, you're a pedophile. You really,
oh yeah,
it's really hard for me to feel sorry for pedophiles.
I don't feel sorry for him. I just don't like how they did it. It's like I cannot feel sorry for the guy, but at the same time, I can also not like how they handled it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but ultimately, I mean, the guy made that choice.
Yeah.
He made that choice to do some weird stuff, so now he's got to pay the price.
I mean, like I've said before on your cast, and I think I've brought it up on this cast. It's just like, what dirty laundry is going on in the video game industry? Because we've heard a lot of things within the past year about happenings going on, whether that be Activision Blizzard, whether that be Ubisoft, whether that be stuff going on in the FGC, the fighting game community.
Yeah, the whole pedo club they had going on there.
Yeah, so it's just like, what is going on? This is why I titled this in slow motion, because I feel like we have been in pertaining to the integrity of a lot of these companies and the people that work for these companies. I feel like they're in this slow motion crash where, where I think we're going to see a lot of dirty laundry come out. And we have seen a lot of dirty laundry come out. And I don't think it's going to stop. But
I mean,
at least Sony did the right thing and fired the guy right away. But I don't think I think if he was at an even higher position, there would have been some PR finagling.
well, I think the only reason they fired him was because it came out publicly that this was going on. Because if it hadn't been public, they probably would have said, "Oh, he decided to spend time with his family," like they do so many times. You'd be surprised at the amount of people that get fired for doing shady stuff, and it turns out after the fact that they were doing some. It's like, no, they want to spend time with their family. Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah, Yeah,
I think there was some shenanigans going on here, sir. Because no one, look, even people who love their family don't want to be around them that much.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's just kind of weird, you know. I mean, just like I've said, the entertainment industry in general has a problem with
Yeah.
a lot of this stuff, and
Well,
a lot of people go unpunished.
it's privilege. Okay, people who have privilege and use that privilege in order to, uh, you know, prevent themselves from receiving justice, and we get that all the time. I mean, you always hear about some rich kid killing somebody or raping somebody, and because their parents can afford a high-powered attorney, they get off for it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh well, um, and I heard someone say, well, rich people love their kids too, and that's right. Wealthy people do love their kids, but if my kid was a serial killer, I'm not gonna be like, oh well, uh, I love my kid. I'm like, you're killing people. I'm not gonna sit there and protect you from the consequences of you doing really messed up stuff. It's one thing if your kid like, oh well, my kid just, my kid got a speeding ticket. Okay, whatever. But my kid murdered someone. Gonna have to pay the cost, son.
Man, just everything that's happened in the past year, whether it be politically or in gaming, focus on gaming. Uh, I think, honestly, I think there's going to come a point where you're just going to see it all just come out, just like big old big old geyser, because a lot of this stuff has been building up and building up and building up for years.
Yeah, yeah. It's like someone who ate way too much food, and eventually, yeah, it's gonna come out.
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna come out one way or another.
Yep, like that song, "One Way or Another, gonna find you, gonna get you, get you, get you, get you." But one way or another, like I don't understand these people who are like, well, it's.
It's
you know, you got to pay the consequences,
yeah, yeah,
And I don't care who your dad is or how much money you have. Like, there's certain stuff where it's like, it's not enough to pay out for it. Like, you gotta pay the consequences for your actions.
yeah, yeah,
And I don't understand why people don't understand that.
yeah, and what's going on over there at Nintendo? What's going on over there at Microsoft? What's going on actually over there at Sony? You know, I don't know. It's things have just gotten interesting, and one thing we've learned is that the video game industry is not immune uh to this sort of behavior, like just like the music and the movie industry.
Well, I mean, it's everywhere.
Yeah,
Everywhere there's anytime you have some place where you have people in power and they aren't and there's no critique of those in power, where people in power just have their own little fiefdom and there's no like oversight or anything like that, as long as they, you know, produce the bottom line, then you're going to have this level of corruption. If you have anything where you can't critique it, it can't be questioned, you're going to have stuff like this.
yeah, yeah.
Every time, all the time. Never has a society that never has an organization that did not have oversight. Because typically speaking, when you do have oversight, like responsible oversight, when stuff like this happens, it gets called out. It's like, oh, this person's doing some shady stuff. But when you don't have oversight and people can do whatever they want, no questions asked, then this is what you get.
So, um, yeah, definitely. But our last topic, which isn't on the list, I forgot to put it on the list. Um, well, Nintendo released a game, one game, only one solitary game to try to entice you to upgrade to their N64/Sega Genesis service for their online uh, Nintendo Online service, and that was Paper Mario. Is that enough to get you to spend $50?
Considering that I already have Paper Mario on my on my Wii and my Wii U and physically, no.
Hopefully, it doesn't run like trash, because I know that's one of the harder games to emulate.
That is true.
So that's gonna be a fun time. So yeah, I mean, they really gotta stop with this trickle effect. It seemed like they released a lot of games at once when they started the Virtual Console.
Yeah, they did. And plus, the Virtual Console, like, let me put it this way: the Virtual Console, once all was said and done, the Virtual Console had 463 games on it.
Yeah.
You have maybe, and I'm being very, judicious when I say this. You have maybe on the Nintendo library, you have maybe 100 games, and that's including the NES and SNES library. But the NES and SNES library, like half of those games are like games that no one would ever go out of their way to get. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if someone said, "I'm going to give you have an you have an SNES, right?" Yeah. Well, here's a game for your SNES for free. It's okay. You know, they're like games you would never go out of your way to get or even download.
Here's Balloon Fight. I mean, Balloon Fight's all right, but it's just
Balloon Fight is okay, but I mean, because that's like a legacy game and all that type of stuff. But some of the other games they have on there, I'm like, come on, man. In what universe did you think anyone wanted this?
Yeah, you figure you would put a lot of the games people want to play at least first, and maybe some of the niche, weird, random games to last. I don't know.
But there's so many other games they could bring. Like, okay, they could have. They could. Okay, fair enough. They don't want to go with like the big heavy hitters. They could go with. They could go with a Japanese only game, like Famicom and Super Famicom games, because a lot of those are games that people always want to play and they never really came out.
Yeah.
Like I know there's rights, but look, the companies that own those rights in Japan, they don't care about someone local. They're old games, okay, and a lot of those games aren't really. They don't require a lot of localization. All right.
Yeah.
But it's just consistently without fail. They just manage to just put some bull crap out there. Caught myself. It's not good. Like why are you charging people for this? Why are you charging like $50 is the price? Like you can get some AAA Switch games for $50. $50 is the price of a full price game. Once you get to that point, there's just no reason for that.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, I definitely agree with you on that.
And I don't want people getting angry at me. Well, just accept it. No, I don't. Not when, like I said, during the Wii Virtual Console and the Wii U Virtual Console, you literally had um like 463 games. That is a huge number of titles.
Yep.
And it's so much lesser. It's so much lesser with the Switch. I mean, it's embarrassing.
Yeah, I think the reason that came out so quickly on the Wii U is because the Wii U is just a super Wii, and so I don't know if it's just the optimization or if they just taking longer to license because of the hardware. I have no idea what's
Let
going
me put
on
it
over
this
there at
way:
Nintendo.
I'm a consumer, not my problem.
I
like
mean,
like
I
Reggie
agree.
said, that's not my problem. It's not my problem, especially when like I said, on the original console they had 463 games. And here's the libraries they had. Like the games, they had games from the NES, SNES, the Sega Genesis, the Sega Master System, the TurboGrafx 16 and CD, the Neo Geo, um, plus certain arcade games. And that's not even including the WiiWare stuff. So you had 7 libraries of games to play that you were basically paying for, but you got to download it and play it whenever the heck you wanted. This Nintendo Online Library, if you're going to charge people $50, there needs to be a better accounting for games you have in your library.
Yeah,
Like you
yeah,
can't just have like a minuscule amount of games. And I know people are going to say, well, they have to license. Not my problem. It's not my problem that they have to license something. All right? Can you comprehend that?
yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, they're. I mean, I'm not saying I'm trying to make an excuse for them. It's just,
No, I'm giving the counter argument for the people before they even make the argument. Well, it takes money to license things. Let me put it this way: um if Sony and Microsoft can license games, can license old games. Like I'll give you an example, okay? I was playing Antstream right now, okay? Antstream, which is being bought by Atari. Antstream Arcade has all 3 of the SNES Super Star Wars games.
yeah,
If a no-name upstart like that can get the Super Star Wars games, why can't Nintendo?
yeah,
There's no excuse for it other than just Nintendo is just like that's not their focus. Their focus is on selling you the service, but they don't have the infrastructure around the service to make it attractive.
yeah. Exactly.
If you're going to sell me a service, you need to sell it. Like Nintendo didn't have to work hard to sell the virtual console. They just started dropping games for it. It's like, "Oh man, look at all these games we got for it."
Yeah,
And heavy hitters, okay? Like within the first year, you were getting Super Mario World, A Link to the Past, Kirby Superstar, like all types of good SNES games, Final Fight, like good Sega Genesis. Like you're getting nothing. I mean, just the trash that they're giving you for $50 is just
I know. It's crazy. It's crazy, and even the N64 games, like, I mean, they're decent. They're decent games, but they're not running properly. Like the emulation is trash. It's like, what's going on there? Like it shouldn't be this way.
I mean, if you're going to charge me $50, then it needs to be better. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like I said, Nintendo offered a better online service when it was free. They offered a better online service when it was free than what they're offering now.
Yeah.
Which is embarrassing. It's embarrassing that you're offering a better service now when it's free than when you're offering a service, that's embarrassing, and what they're offering, they're like, hey, you have online saves. So,
Yeah.
I mean, all online saves, like cloud saves, are cool and all, but I mean, like, are there any games on the Switch that you really care about an online save that much?
Not really. I mean, not like I'm switching between accounts or like different Switch consoles that much. So
Yeah.
anyway, is there anything else you'd like to bring up before we close out? A little bit shorter than
Uh,
usual, but that's
no, I got nothing unless there's something you want to bring up. I mean, we
uh,
talked about Sony launching their own game. We didn't cover the Halo Infinite campaign.
we talked a little bit about that. We talked about the reviews. Irish brought it up. The camp. We mostly talked about the multiplayer.
Yeah.
But
Well, I heard that the campaign doesn't let you initially play through different missions over and over again, like it's one mission to another. But they're adding the ability for you to replay through a mission if you so choose. So,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah, I'll probably check it out tomorrow. I have Game Pass, so probably download it tomorrow. Check it out.
yeah, Game Pass makes Game Pass is great because it lets you try out games that it lets you play games you would probably never buy, or it would be it would take a while for you to buy that game, and now you can just like you don't have to worry about that,
Yeah.
which I love. Uh, but that's my own personal opinion. I wish more systems did that. Like
Yeah, me too.
more companies had like, oh, you can try it before you buy it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna keep it real. There's a lot of games I've tried, and I'm like, man, I'm glad I got this on Steam because I can return it because I don't like it.
Yeah. Well, want to give your sign off, and we'll call it a night.
Sure. This is Mr. Red Fox, owner proprietor BS Busters, and just play your games. I'm stealing someone else's. Play your games.
Just play your games. Well, that's Kenoshi Abominito. Here to say, that this is Project Console, episode 10 in slow motion. And I might do something with the Game Awards on Thursday. Might do stream a little bit of it, but I'm not gonna pull an all-nighter, because I gotta work the next day. Because I get paid to wake up and go to that job. I don't get paid to watch the Game Awards. But in any case, everybody have a good night and stay safe.
Peace.